call the meeting to order at 6:30. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag got moved.
Where did it go?
Where'd it go?
We'll have to do that sign again, I think.
I don't know where it even went.
Do you guys see it down there? No. Where the heck did it go?
We have a flag on that poster.
Right here.
That'll be the first
Just
one.
hang on. Is it over there? Where would it have gone?
I have no idea.
Maybe they moved it when they were cleaning. Did they clean upstairs this week, Mom?
The flag's been
That's
hijacked.
weird.
Okay,
We'll take a look for it.
I guess we're gonna do this for now.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, we'll have to figure out where the flag took off to. Roll call, please.
George Cullis,
Yes?
Karen Winchester here, Jennifer Ryan,
Here.
Derek Burton,
Here.
Ryan Mattson,
Here.
Michael McCanny,
Here.
Richard Kinnaman.
Here.
Next, we will go to agenda approval. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Winchester, support by Kinnaman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. All items listed under consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial. They do not require discussion by the Township Board, and they will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion. If discussion is desired on an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will automatically be moved to the last item under new business. Chair would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Kinnaman. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Burton. Roll call, please.
Richard Kinnaman,
Yes.
Mike McCanny,
Yes.
Ryan Mattson,
Yes.
Derek Burton,
Yes.
Jennifer Ryan,
Yes.
Karen Winchester, yes, George Cullis.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Public hearing, we have none. Presentations, we have none. I will move on to reports. I'll start with the trustees. Mr. McCanny.
Planning Commission's moving ahead with their ordinance stuff. This is gonna be very exciting. And then during that process, are we able to add ordinances or take away ordinances?
I imagine,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, that's kinda cool. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward.
Okay. Mr. Mattson.
No, mine will be under new business. Thank you.
Okay. Then I'll go to Mr. Kinnaman.
Nothing personal, but on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, our annual dinner is a week from Saturday. And if you're interested in attending, reservations need to be made by Friday. $90 a person. It'll be at the vault across the street here.
Did you want to mention who's being honored?
I've not announced that publicly yet.
Okay. All right. Then I'll go to Mr. Burton.
Nothing for me.
Did you just come in off the golf course?
Me? No.
Fabulous,
colorful.
fabulous suit. I
Right
love it.
color. I'm letting everybody know spring is on its way.
Okay.
We're almost there.
Minute by
Well,
minute.
it's a good thing we have that coat to look at, because you can't prove it out there.
All right.
Okay. At this point, then I'll turn to the clerk,
No report for me.
and now the treasurer.
Nothing.
Okay. The only thing, I think I reported the farmstead at the last meeting. That doesn't leave much to report at this time. The only thing I would report is actually in
I
the,
would take it he's not been working the past couple of days.
pardon?
Yeah.
I would take it he's not been working on it the past couple of days.
No, he Well, at this point, he has a date of June 15th.
Right.
And it's his to complete, or he starts paying us. So, okay, then we will move on to public comment. Public comment on agenda items only. Members of the public can address the board on agenda items only, once recognized by the supervisor. Comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. The board may extend this time by a majority vote. Prior to addressing the board, the members of the public shall state their name and address for the record. A second public comment is available after new business for all other comments. Thank you for your cooperation. If you can give me a show of hands for public comment, then I'm going to start in the back row with this lady over here. Well, the microphone's right there, so get it situated so we can hear you.
Okay. So I wrote this down so I don't forget.
Just bend it, there you go.
Okay.
Can you test that? Just speak into it.
Hello? I don't think
Are we getting it? Okay. We don't get it in the room though, is that correct? Correct. Okay. So we're gonna need you to speak up so the people in the room, and I need you to start with name and address.
Okay. My name is Wendy Kozlowski. I live at 16082 Fish Lake Road, with my husband, John Kozlowski.
Okay. Is it possible for you to speak up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Is it going through?
Just talk louder in the room.
Okay. My husband, John, wanted to be here today, but with work, he couldn't. So my son, Christopher, is here with me. On the evening of November 16th, approximately 8 p.m., an unknown adult male aggressively attempted to gain entry into our home while our family was inside. The situation escalated rapidly, resulting in a frantic 911 call. John drawing a firearm to defend our home. Fortunately, the weapon was not discharged. During the incident, a second individual approaching our home was identified as an employee of the Flat Rock facility adjacent to our property. The police report was filed under Michigan State Police Case 21-864925. Although the Michigan State Police later determined there was no criminal intent, we remain deeply concerned by the seriousness of this incident and the fact that our household was placed in a situation where lives could have been permanently changed. Our home was nearly compromised. The outcome could have been tragic had entry been gained. Following this event, we contacted Holly Township, Oakland County, and the state police to understand the operational and permitting status of the Flat Rock Manor of Whistle Stop. Through these communications, we learned that the facility was never issued a land use permit to operate as an adult care facility. Throughout this process, we were repeatedly redirected between agencies without receiving clear answers or a resolution. On November 24th, we spoke to representatives from both the state of Michigan and the Oakland County, each indicating the issue fell outside their authority. We also spoke with Holly Township Supervisor George Clueless and provided him with the state contact information. Since that time, we have left multiple voicemails with the Holly Township on December 2nd, December 3rd, and again on January 7th without receiving a single return call. We find the lack of communication deeply troubling, particularly given that this matter directly affects the safety and security of our home and family. While zoning and permitting issues may seem like paperwork matters, the impact in this case was very real. Our family was put in a situation that no homeowner should ever have to face. We are concerned about the security practices at Flat Rock Manor of Whistle Stop and equally concerned about the township's apparent tolerance of an adult care facility operating without the required land use permit. If we were to begin construction or to operate a use of our property without proper permits, enforcement would be immediately. We respectfully request clarification as to why this situation appears to be treated differently. We are requesting written confirmation of the facilities permitting and zoning compliance status and an update on which steps we are being taken to address this matter. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward to a prompt response. And then I have typed out like all the zoning stuff.
Okay. Thank you. Yep, you're done?
Yeah.
Okay. Was your son going to speak or? No? All right, thank you for your comment. We don't normally respond to public comment, but I do in this case. We have reached out to the state. I've talked with your husband on 2 different occasions. I don't know how they correlate to your dates, but I have spoken with him. It is unfortunate. We don't have authority over that. It's in the hands of Lara and the state police as to the licensing and the control of that property. We don't have authority over that.
And we made a formal complaint with the state.
And I know Karen, through the clerk's office, made a formal complaint. If you want a copy of that, do we have a
It was,
copy of it?
nope, it was verbal.
Oh, it was a verbal through a phone
I mean,
call.
yeah,
So-
I have the contact information.
I can't hear you.
Can you come back to
The blowers are so loud. Come back up. Well, the microphone doesn't help her either.
No, but the public can hear then.
Talking to the mic.
They can do the license, but you guys have to do the permits. There's nothing that they can do. That's what they're telling us.
You know, anything under 6, and they're claiming that they have under 6, is not regulated by Holly Township. So they can do it through the state only,
So they get their permits and everything?
Yeah.
through the state of Michigan.
Okay.
We'll follow up again with the state on this. We've had this conversation once. I've talked to the state police.
Okay.
And again, because it's under 6 and they claim they have less than 6, that's where the problem is.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how many, but I know they get into vans and they drive up to the gas station. My husband was pumping gas last week, and the guy that tried to break into our home walked right past him. And vaping, like, it was like they were just out for a joyride. But the scary part is these people that are there, I've been told, are mentally ill, they're non-communicative, and they're self-harming. The way this man was trying to get into our house, we thought he was coming in to kill us. This was not someone that we thought, oh, they're trying to come in to rob us, or just, like,
I
the way
understand he was trying to get in through the sliding door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was pounding, we thought he was gonna break the glass. Thank God he didn't. But we've gotten no communication from Flat Rock as well. They've not once tried to reach out to us or return our phone calls to say, we're sorry that this happened, these are the steps that we're taking. We don't know what kind of, if they have any security there. I mean,
All right.
we find these people in the road, rocking, sitting in the road. Their employees will come to our house thinking that we're the facility and trying to make entrance into our home by flashing their badges with our ring doorbell. Which is, but this will be like 1 o'clock in the morning, which scares you when your ring doorbell goes off.
Just so I have it with this paper, would you give me, you want to come up, so you don't have to do it in public, you want to come up and add your phone number so I can call your husband? We'll look into this again. Whose name's that? All right, thank you. Okay. Next, you can have a seat. Next for public comment.
This isn't on. Can you hear me? Yeah, this isn't on.
It doesn't go in the room, it goes online.
Oh, online. Okay, well, sorry about that. People listening online. Banging on it. Yeah, first.
The people at home are going,
Yeah, I know. I'm like, dang, I'm so sorry. My name is Stephen Ball. Reside at 11455 Dixie Highway, Michigan. I'm here for the property at 11533 that's to be voted on to be rezoned from
Dixie Highway.
agricultural residential. Yes, Dixie Highway.
Yep.
To C2. First of all, I'm sorry I don't have a copy for you. My Word was messing up and I couldn't print it out. I always use it, so I apologize. I apologize for coming here late from work with my scrubs. It's kind of weird. But yes, good evening, board. We have resided at 11455 Dixie Highway, Holly, Michigan, since the late 70s, and we love where we live. Amongst many reasons why this land at 11533 Dixie Highway should remain agricultural residential, there are two main reasons why it should not be rezoned to C2, which will allow a car wash or another business that would be detrimental to our neighboring families and homes. The first reason, property value fluctuations. While the rezoned property's value often increases, neighboring residential or agricultural property value decreases if the new commercial activities are perceived as nuisances or disruptive to the residential character. Car washes are among the loudest commercial developments allowed in C2 zones, often reaching up to 89 decibels. Secondary noise comes from vacuum stations, loud music, idling or revving car engines. We are even more concerned with illegal activity that takes place at these types of businesses. My second reason is this family right here, the Gross family, James, Grace, and their newborn daughter, who are young, new homeowners that reside at 11523 Dixie Highway, right next to the property at 11533 Dixie Highway, will experience the most repercussions from this land being rezoned to C2. Most importantly, a car wash. This will also directly affect our neighbors, Jeff and his wife, Wendy, myself, and my wife, with repercussions as well. Please understand the direct negative impact this will have on all of our families and our future lives as peaceful homeowners residing in North Holly Township. We plead that you vote against this land being rezoned from agricultural residential to C2. Thank you very much, and may God bless Holly.
All right. Sir, your address was 1145.
Bye.
I didn't hear. Thank you. Okay. Next for public comment.
Good evening, Holly Township Board. I'm going to be reading on behalf of my neighbor, Jeff Ancliffe. He's not able to be present today. His father is having an operation. He's currently in Toledo, Ohio. Good evening. My name is Jeff Ancliffe, and I reside at 11501 Dixie Highway, one lot away from where the rezoning of 11533 Dixie Highway is being discussed. Mr. Cullis allowed me to submit a letter to be read tonight due to the fact that my 81-year-old dad is having surgery in Toledo, Ohio this afternoon, and I wasn't sure if I'd be back in time to personally attend the meeting. Thank you for this, Mr. Cullis. My wife Wendy and I have lived at our home since December of 2015. True to the fact stated in the first paragraph of Holly Township's mission statement on their website, it's nestled in the northwestern most corner of Oakland County, where residents enjoy scenic atmosphere filled with natural beauty, wildlife, and serenity. I don't understand how a 24-hour car wash fits into this description. The last paragraph of the mission statement begins, Holly Township is committed to preserving and enhancing a safe community of caring and involved residents that are proud to call Holly Township home. And ends with, we will endeavor to deliver our services cost effectively while embracing the highest standards of integrity and accountability to those we serve. How can the members of the Township Board keep their integrity and accountability to vote yes on the rezoning to allow a 24/7 car wash? Voting yes on this rezoning goes against the mission statement. I've been a police officer for over 33 years and currently serve as a deputy chief of police for the city of Flint, so I have legitimate experience in the public safety field. Holly Township has no police department and relies on the Michigan State Police to respond to 911 calls for service. This isn't a slight on the state police, but they don't spend much time in northern Oakland County. Yes, they have an office in Groveland Township, but spend the majority of their time in busier areas south of us. The location of the property attempting to be rezoned is right off of I-75. I-75 is a pipeline between Detroit and Flint, a pipeline for drug dealers to transport their narcotics. 24/7 car washes are a very popular spot for criminals to meet up and do drug deals. What comes with drug deals is violence. When violence happened, not only did the police need to respond, but also fire and rescue. Should a township resident miss out on public safety need because the police, fire, and rescue personnel are dealing with non-residents at a 24-hour car wash? I've been on multiple shooting scenes, some resulting in death, at these types of car washes. Not only acts of violence, but drug overdoses as well, because soon as an addict gets their drug of choice, today's being fentanyl or heroin, they use it and subsequently overdose, occasionally dying. How do Holly Township residents really want this type of activity? Absolutely not. The last 23 plus years of my career, I've been a canine handler. My first 2 canines were patrol dogs trained to find narcotics and people. I searched multiple vehicles for drugs at car washes over the years. Also, the drug dealers and users don't always voluntarily give up and they will flee from the police, resulting in us using our canines to track these fleeing subjects. These subjects will run where they have not been apprehended by the police, and in doing so, drop their drugs in yards, parking lots, or wherever they're running through. Do township residents want this type of activity on their personal property? Absolutely not. I wouldn't think Shannon Precision Fasteners would want drug dealers or users running through their business property either. Voting to approve this rezoning goes against embracing the highest standards of integrity and accountability for those you serve. If the rezoning is approved, not only will we have to deal with the aforementioned issues, but it will also affect our property value in a negative way. Township residents will have to deal with noise and environmental and chemical concern. 24/7 car wash operations mean constant mechanical noise such as vacuums, pressure washers, and vehicle sounds such as engines, car doors, slamming, and loud music. There's light pollution. Bright, constant lighting can disrupt sleep and make our properties seem less peaceful, impacting quality of life. Long-term effects of chemicals and wastewater on the immediate surrounding properties is also unknown. Having a 24/7 car wash will limit the pool of potential buyers if we decide to sell and creates more negative influence on our home values. If the members of the Holly Township Board want to keep their integrity and accountability intact, you'll need to vote no on this rezoning. Thank you for your time. Deputy Chief of Police, Flint Police Department, Jeff Ancliffe.
All right, thank you. Just to clarify for the board, Mr. Ancliffe called, he came into my office, Karen and I met with him. He was asking that we put this on next month's agenda because he wasn't going to be able to be here due to his father's surgery. And I told him if he wrote a letter and his wife was going to come and read it, we would allow it to be read into the record. So that's why the letter was allowed to come in. Well, if somebody had just mailed one, we just mention that we have a letter and we don't typically read it. But under the circumstances, I allowed it because the property owner has, you have to measure the request. If I grant a request like that, somebody else could come next month and say, I've got an emergency, and before you know it, we're putting it out 6 months. And I couldn't put the township in that position. So I appreciate it. Is there anyone else for public comment?
Good evening. My name is Rick Hetherington. I'm an attorney with CF Legal and located at 302 East Court Street in Flint, Michigan. I've been retained by James Gross in relation to the rezoning of 11533 Dixie Highway from agricultural residential to C2. I am in possession of the McKenna letter, and I know that the Planning Commission supports this rezoning, but I don't think that they have fully considered the fact that the Holly Township Master Plan may identify the subject parcel for commercial use, but the existing pattern remains predominantly residential in this area. And the township has historically emphasized low-density development and preservation of residential character. The board should recognize that the existing zoning patterns carry substantial weight when it comes to making a decision on rezoning. The surrounding residents relied on the existing residential zoning when they purchased and maintained their homes. The proposed commercial rezoning threatens demonstrable and foreseeable impacts, including increased traffic, noise, light, signage, commercial activity that's incompatible with the nearby homes, safety concerns related to the higher traffic volumes and turning movements, and potential reduction in residential property values. The board should actually consider specific actual impacts, not merely land use classifications when making this decision. While the Holly Township Master Plan may contemplate eventual commercial use, it is a long-range planning document, not a zoning ordinance. Conditions anticipated by the master plan, including infrastructure upgrades, traffic improvements, and market demand, have not yet occurred. The surrounding area has not transitioned away from residential use, and any rezoning at this time would be premature and speculative. The board should remember that master plans are advisory, and you retain the discretion over timing and implementation. Under the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, zoning decisions must promote public health, safety, and welfare. This proposed change would increase traffic hazards on local roads, create conflicts between commercial activity and residential living, place additional burdens on emergency services. Specifically, there's no dedicated police force in the township. Although there is a police post at Dixie and Grange Hall, that post is actually closed to the public and is not actually staffed. It's merely used as an outpost for troopers that are working in the area who are already short-staffed. The plan also fails to address stormwater drainage and environmental concerns that are common in that area. The township lacks studies or mitigation measures for any rezoning to be reviewed as unsupported and competent evidence. Even where the master plan suggests commercial use, the rezoning constitutes impermissible spot zoning. It's a single small parcel that is being rezoned. Surrounding parcels remain residential. The rezoning primarily benefits the applicant rather than the township at large. No broader rezoning strategy is implemented currently. Even if commercial use is ultimately appropriate, this rezoning fails to provide sufficient buffers between commercial and residential uses. Specifically, it is adjacent to a residential property that has been in its current location for 70 years, and there are other similarly situated residential properties in the vicinity. It has not been shown to require setbacks, landscaping, screening, or anything that's adequate to protect these residences. This rezoning can be viewed as arbitrary. The Planning Commission has not provided any clear findings to explain how negative impacts would be mitigated in this area. Even if the master plan supports future commercial use, the Planning Commission has failed to consider other master plan goals such as residential preservation, traffic safety, environmental protection, and maintaining neighborhood character. The applicant, in this case, knew how the property was zoned when he purchased it and that it was not properly zoned for his intended use. So he has created this issue, and I would ask the board to deny the request. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Do you need my address?
I'm sorry?
Do you need my address?
Yes.
11523 Dixie Highway.
Let's just hit, I already have it. Anyone else for public comment? None appearing? We will move on to, well, there is no old business. We'll go on to new business, which is the rezoning request for Anthony Reed, AR Real Estate, to rezone parcel ID number 0101326005. The address is 11533 Dixie Highway. And zoning goes from AGRE, which is agricultural, residential, a minimum of 5 acres, to C2. Alexis has already found her way to the podium. I'll let you present.
Okay, thank you very much for having me tonight. My name is Alexis. I serve as Holly Township's planner. I do work for a private consulting firm called McKenna. We serve townships, villages, cities across the state, and serve as their community planner as needed. And so, as was stated tonight, and as it sounds like most folks are aware, we're here to discuss a rezoning request on Dixie Highway. And I wanted to first just talk a little bit about the process here and what the request actually represents. So when the applicant submitted their application commission, they included a note that a car wash was their intended use for this request. However, I want to just make it clear that at this time, there aren't any site plans or specific use requests for this proposal. The proposal is just to rezone the property. If the township board were to approve that request, any of the permitted or special uses in that C2 district would be allowable on that property. This doesn't tie the owner to develop it as a car wash. It doesn't tie him to develop it at all. It just changes what's permissible on the property. And as the property owner, he has that right to make that request. And so I'll run through a variety of things, and please feel free to stop me as I go along. If I need to speak up, if you have questions, please feel free. And so with a rezoning request, in many communities, there will be a specific ordinance adopted by the municipality with criteria that must be met to help guide decisions. These are things like speaking to neighboring development patterns, compliance or alignment with the master plan, things of that nature. And I want to just make it clear that at this time, the township does not have an adopted rezoning ordinance. So what that means is the state of Michigan, in the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, allows for townships to process rezonings, but there isn't necessarily a set of criteria that must be met in order to approve or deny. So in this case, I have provided some things to consider in the memo that was included in the packet, but they are by no means criteria that all must be met. They are not things that are necessarily codified in your ordinance, but these are just considerations for discussion, things that could affect this property and the neighboring properties in the area should the rezoning go through. And so I'll walk through some of those. And did want to mention that the public hearing for this request, a public hearing is required for a rezoning request. Neighbors within 300 feet are notified. That public hearing was held at the November 12th Planning Commission meeting. We had some folks that are here tonight come and make some statements during the public hearing. And so all of that was heard by the commission, taken into consideration, and we had discussed that evening, and they ultimately did decide to recommend that the board approve the request. And so to speak to the specific circumstances on this site, so in my memo on page 6, I have included an excerpt from the zoning map as well as the future land use map. My copy is black and white, so it's not going to be helpful for the public, but basically showing what are the existing conditions in the surrounding area, and then what are the planned future uses and nature of development in the master plan. So, and this was mentioned during some of the comments tonight, the master plan is ultimately a guiding document. It is not something that is set in stone. It's required by law to be updated every 5 years, and the township did just adopt a recent update in 2024. So this plan and this map was reviewed. The goals and objectives were refreshed. Things were revisited to ensure that what's in the master plan is still the long-term goal for the township. Now, Trustee McCanny had mentioned, as the Planning Commission liaison, the township is also initiating a zoning ordinance update to start to enact what's in the master plan. And so with planning and zoning, I always say it's the long game. These are things that are going to transpire and change over many, many years. And so what you see on the future land use map is perhaps the vision ultimately in 10 or 15 years. And that change can happen quickly, but typically it does take that much time to have all of these properties turn over and change in use and change in character. And so I just wanted to mention that those maps are there for you. And on that same page, just to clarify, there is a zoning plan in the master plan. This lays out if we were to take the charge and update our zoning ordinance to really align with our current master plan, what would that look like? And so for each future land use category, there are corresponding zoning districts. And what that means is, as the township updates their ordinance, what do the changes mean in terms of districts? Do we need more commercial districts? Do we need more residential districts? This lays out how that should happen. And so I just wanted to put that out there as a point of process and to help everyone understand how the master plan plays a role in this decision tonight. And so for this request for this property, the future land use classification is commercial center. The future land use plan does incorporate several different current zoning districts into this category. And so what that means is when a rezoning request is presented, pretty much the first thing that we do is take a look at this table and see, is there alignment, is there support from the master plan for this request? And for the commercial center classification, that is what this property is envisioned as for the future. And there are a variety of other parcels in that same area that also have that commercial center future land use classification. One thing to note, there is a mention of spot zoning. While this may represent the only C2 zoned property in the immediate vicinity, often when a judge looks at spot zoning, it's the typical first step is to look again at the master plan. So if there is support in your master plan, it's really the strongest justification when you're looking at making changes to zoning districts, any kind of zoning regulations, and this one does align. Now, to speak just a little bit to why is this the case for this area, why is this classified as commercial center and envisioned as a more commercial area in the future? A big reason for that are two things. First being access. So we know that Dixie Highway is a major thoroughfare, not only for the township, but for it connects to a variety of states throughout the country. And so having an area where you're envisioning higher intensity, more traffic, it doesn't necessarily make sense to establish that in an area where you're on a dirt road. There's already, a very quiet, low intensity in terms of traffic and use. But in this area, the infrastructure is already there. There's access to a major thoroughfare, and the second item being utilities. So when this master plan was originally adopted many years ago, again, it's been updated since, utility access is a huge consideration for commercial and industrial uses in particular. If you don't have access to water and sewer, it becomes very difficult to develop those kinds of uses. And when a municipality is going to look at their community and understand, well, we know we need some commercial uses. Where's the best place? Where's the most suitable place that this could go? We can't necessarily rule out all commercial uses or all industrial uses. There's a lot of case law that actually says that's illegal. You can't say that, well, we outlaw car washes everywhere. That's been stricken down. That's something that legally the township cannot do. And so this is just to speak to why is this the way it is in the master plan, It's that when taking a look at all of these things across the township, where are the areas that we need to preserve and that we want to preserve, and then where are the areas that we want to see development? This area has just been identified as most appropriate for these classifications for commercial center. Now, any questions so far?
Anybody from the board have a question?
Okay.
No, it's a very good presentation. Thank you.
Does that
So-
complete it for you?
I just had a few more things I wanted to mention in terms of
Okay.
some of the concerns that were brought up with the public comment.
Okay, good,
So-
because I was going to say, otherwise I've got my list. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So going back to what is the request tonight? The request is for a zoning classification. At the time when the property owner seeks to actually develop the property, again, they are not tied down to developing it as a car wash, but when the time comes, any of the uses in that zoning district will require a site plan review. During site plan review is when all of the details are sort of ironed out, details such as light pollution, noise generation. You know, if you think about it in terms of a timeline, we're still at the stage where we're not quite sure what we're doing here. We know that we want to do something commercial, maybe a car wash, but we'll see. We need to get this first step done before we start to figure out the details of how big is the building going to be? Are we going to make it of brick? Things of that nature. And a lot of the concerns that were brought up would be addressed during that process. So just want to put that out there, that there is a completely separate process that would address more in further detail some of the things that were brought up. Additionally, in the C2 district, automobile washes are considered a special land use. And so what that means is there are even more criteria that the property owner would need to meet in order to have that use approved. And because it's a special use, the township, it's a discretionary decision. So the township is not required to approve it if there are certain things that don't align, or if there are major concerns or issues that are brought up. And so, you know, we're still many, many steps away from this being truly developed as a car wash. I'm happy to speak to some of the other specific things that were brought up tonight. The last thing I want to mention really is that as it's currently zoned AGRE, the site is just about, it's 1.62 acres. In the AGRE district, the lot minimum is actually 5 acres. And so what that means is it's a non-conforming lot. There are many of them in the township. And there is a regulation that states if you have a non-conforming lot, typically that would make it undevelopable. But there is a stipulation saying that you can still build a residential home. And without rezoning the property, the only use that would be allowable there is a residential home. And so as you take a look at some of these considerations I've included in the memo, I just encourage you to keep that in mind, that rezoning the property would also take away that non-conforming status. And in planning and zoning, we try to avoid non-conformity if at all possible, because what that means is it's a lot more restricted in terms of what you can do with it. And so, you know, we're balancing a lot of motivations here. We've got the master plan, the public, the property owner who does have a right to do something with his property. And so I'm happy to answer any questions, and that's what I have.
Any questions from the board at this point?
I just wanted to verify, clarify. So if this happened, say, 2 years from now, when we've updated the zoning ordinance to match the master plan, it would already be zoned commercial, correct?
So there is a very high likelihood that yes, that could happen, because as the commission updates the ordinance, there will be further deliberation. There will be several public hearings involved. And so, we always say the master plan is your strongest form of evidence as to why are we adopting these zoning ordinances and these regulations. But you can depart from what your plan says if circumstances has changed, if there's perhaps a new technology, something that is unprecedented. And again, your master plan can always be amended. It's a living document.
Okay.
So these homes, though, will stay residential for as long as somebody's in this home.
Absolutely.
It won't be rezoned even if it's going through a zoning reclassification.
Sorry, could you
So-
repeat that last bit?
What we just talked about was reclassifying all these properties, and we're going through this. If it's an existing property and it's residential, there's a home on it, but the master plan says it should be commercial, what happens in that scenario?
Yeah, so going back to nonconformities, that home would become nonconforming. And so when we're talking about zoning and then development, the way that I see it is, again, kind of like a pipeline. We've got the planning phase, we've updated the master plan, taken a look at things with high level zoning, which means what can you do, what are you allowed to do, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it. It's just that you're allowed to if you want. And then the development phase, where you're actually nailing down the details and pursuing it. And so if a property is rezoned, there may be some non-conforming aspects to it as the township updates ordinances to be modernized to allow for, to remove things that may have been found to be unconstitutional. There's always new case law out there. The main focus of the update is to bring it up to date, but it's also to align with the plan. And so as the commission goes through this update, they haven't finalized it yet, I guess is what I need to get at. It's, here's our idea of where we want to go with this, but we haven't even gotten to the stage of a draft yet. And so while the master plan calls for this, and as a best practice in planning, my recommendation will be to enact what that says. It's not a done deal by any means.
So, and I'm trying to think long term here. And some of this information is coming from Zillow, so this might not be super accurate, okay? But it's my understanding the people right next to this property bought it in November, or it closed in November. Now, say one of these houses go for sale again. Can we, if the goal was to make this a commercial area, zone it as commercial as it's up for sale? That way the new homeowners, because right now we have new homeowners that just moved into a house who believe the property next to them is residential,
AGI.
agricultural, and then, so
Yeah.
like if there would be a way maybe moving forward that as that house is up for sale, that land gets reclassified, so that way whoever's buying these homes know, hey, the intent here is to make this a commercial area.
I think that's why you zone it commercial. It doesn't mean you can't keep living on it residential. It becomes legal non-conforming. There's nothing illegal about it. It's just saying the future plan for this was commercial, so it's zoned commercial, but there was already a house on it, so it's good. Just like there's tons of properties that aren't actually the 5 acres, but they already existed, so they're allowed to still be that
So
residential property.
to answer your question, the township could rezone that whole section, even while there are residential people living there, and they could remain residential homes
Okay.
as long as there are people
Yes,
living there.
correct.
It's happened in other communities. It happened to us when we lived in Milford. So I know it can't be done. I do want to address a couple of things that were in the public comments. Somebody made the statement, I believe it was the attorney, that this area, none of the safety features and so forth have been addressed in the roads. It's important to note that this parcel is on the east side of Dixie Highway. There are a total of 5. I'm assuming 4 of them have houses on them. I only have 3 addresses represented tonight, but I think there are 4 houses there. So, yeah, so there are houses there. This particular property is at the end of that line, right across from Belford Road, that intersection there. Also, at the same time, this is a 5-lane highway that is a direct connection to I-75, just up the road a bit. So I think it's disingenuous for people to think that it's always going to stay rural, like you said, dirt road in the back area. The other issue that was brought up was, and you said it, it's not a done deal for a car wash. It's got to come up between a site plan. During that site plan process, they do take into consideration noise and lights and what kind of buffers built to protect it from the properties adjacent. At the same time, they do have the ability to look at it from a standpoint of hours open.
Yes,
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a 24-hour operation. At the same time, let's see, my other notes were the homes. We've already addressed that. Oh, the other thing I have written down here is they're going to have a permit from the health department because there is no water and sewer in that area. And on that 1.6 acres, they're going to have to figure out how to put the kind of septic field that would handle that kind of business. And I don't know that the health department would deny them a permit, but they may require quite an expensive operation to handle that kind of water. So there are some hurdles going forward that the public has an opportunity to stand up with. I'm sure they have to go through perk testing and all of that good stuff. So they're by no means out of the woods with this rezoning.
Right.
Those are the things I wanted to address that came up in public comment that was on here.
Could I
being
ask, what other things, what other types of business qualify under that commercial classification?
Yeah, so included at the end of the memo are the AGRE and the C2 zoning district standards. So all of the permitted and special uses for each district are in your packets. And so if you'd like, I'm happy to read that for the public if that's helpful.
Just a few that are
Sure. So for
more likely in that scenario.
So for the
What page are you on?
So it's right after page 6. It's just printed straight from the ordinance. Should have
I don't have that.
I don't have,
I was going to say, because I don't see what you're,
Yeah.
Well, at any rate, so I'll read them for everyone. This is the C2 district.
if you can be loud,
Sure.
the blower's going.
So for permitted uses, these are permitted by right. They still require site plan review, but if they meet all of the dimensional and engineering, landscaping, all of the detailed requirements, then the Planning Commission is required by law to permit them. So planned shopping centers over 50,000 square feet of gross floor area. Obviously, that's not something that's likely to fit on this property. Health and fitness clubs, eating and drinking establishments, including drive-in or drive-through restaurants, funeral homes, and direct-use solar energy systems. And then I unfortunately don't have a copy in front of me, but all of the permitted and special uses listed for the C1 district are permitted in C2. I'm happy to pull out my laptop and pull that up. I just don't have a printed copy of that C1. Is that the C1?
Alexis, before you
Yes.
leave this evening, make sure we get copies of those to add to the packet that we save on.
I'll get them for you.
Okay, I just
Sure.
want to make sure we have.
And they are just printed straight from your code of ordinances. So the permitted uses in C1 are planned shopping centers under 50,000 square feet, retail businesses supplying commodities such as groceries, meats, dairy products, etc. personal service establishments such as repair shops for watches, small appliances, shoes and beauty, and barber shops, laundry and dry cleaning pickup stations, professional offices of doctors, dentists, veterinarians, lawyers, etc., financial and business service establishments, banks, credit unions, insurance offices, municipal and utility buildings, and direct use solar energy systems. Now, the special uses, which are permitted in C2 by right, eating and drinking establishments excluding drive-in or drive-through restaurants, automobile service stations, laundry or dry cleaning, customer outlets and laundromats, assembly, which is such as an event venue, an assembly of people, like a movie theater, on-site wind energy conversion systems, and utility power generation conversion systems. So those would all be permitted by right in the C2 district. Now for special uses in C2, they specifically call out movie theaters as being special beyond the general other assembly type uses. Indoor and outdoor commercial recreation, including bowling, skating rinks, or similar uses. Outdoor sales, such as new and used car sales, nurseries, gardens, garden sales. Automobile service stations, automobile washes and repair. Hotels and motels, self-storage facilities, general landscape and landscape contractor office and yards, on-site wind energy conversion systems, and utility power generation conversion systems. Now, one thing you'll notice is there is some repetition here that we'll need to address in the update, and but this is as it stands on the books today.
Also, this parcel on the other side of it is adjacent to rural town zoning
For the future land use, you mean?
on
Yes.
the future.
Yes. And so the idea is that in this area you already have in some ways a mix of uses. There is the Shannon fastener that was mentioned across Dixie Highway, which is considered industrial. There are to the north off of McClelland, a couple of other commercial and landscaping business type uses. And so in the future land use, it's envisioned still as a mixed use area, and we're just in that area looking to more formalize that. Right now, the uses all don't necessarily align with their current zoning.
Yeah, because I know that there's a machine shop on the corner on the north side. The landscape place is off to the, so there are
Yeah.
developments hitting that area. All right. Any more questions from the board for Alexis?
She mentioned that we kind of legally have to have an area in the township that is commercial. So when they go through the zoning ordinance update, if they decided they didn't want this area to be commercial, would they have to therefore pick another area of the township to be commercial?
The short answer is yes, they would. It's the way that zoning law has been developed and has been litigated over the decades. The prevailing answer is that you have to allow for a variety and really all types of uses in your community. You can't necessarily outlaw something outright. But if they did want to locate these types of uses in a different area, that determination really happens during the master plan phase. And the result of it is the future land use. We know we have to allow for a variety of uses. We know we have existing development that we need to align with. How can we most appropriately locate these types of uses?
All right. So, yeah, when we mention the master plan, those are events that have public hearings. The public comes to those. I've attended some of those. You get an opportunity to walk around and talk about where you want development, how you want development to look like. These are the areas that the public that attended those events had earmarked, and they've been in the master plan for some 20 years, set up that way.
Yes.
So-
In the most recent update, there were almost no changes to the future land use map, meaning all of what had been planned for many years more or less stayed the same in the most recent update.
Okay. Everybody's good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So that the public understands, things that are put on the agenda are there for the intent to approve. That doesn't mean they have to be approved, but that's usually how the motions start. So at this point, the chair would entertain a motion for,
I'm sorry, are we still going to have discussion? Because I was done with questions.
yeah, once
Okay,
the
I just
motion's
wanted to
made,
make
then
sure.
we have discussion.
Okay, thank you.
So the chair would entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the rezoning request from AGRE Agricultural Residential District to the C2 General Commercial District for parcel number 0101326005, located on Dixie Highway, based on the findings of fact. The 2024 Holly Township Master Plan designates the future use of the site as commercial center, which aligns with the requested C2 General Commercial District in the zoning plan. The physical, so that was A. B, the physical aspects of the site make it suitable for commercial development given its location along a major thoroughfare, access to public utilities, and compliance with dimensional requirements of the C2 General Commercial District. C, the site is currently non-conforming with the dimensional requirements of the AGRE Agricultural Residential District, and rezoning it to C2 General Commercial District would eliminate its non-conforming status. D, the site has the potential to meet the full site development standards of Chapter 32 of the Holly Township Code of Ordinances. Site plan review by the Planning Commission will be required in the future, which ensures compatibility with the surrounding area.
All right, is there support?
Support.
Motion by Winchester, support by Ryan. Now, for discussion, Mr. Mattson.
First, I had a very nice conversation with Jeff, the gentleman that submitted the letter. We spoke. He reiterated a lot of the points from his letter, but I just wanted to point out he did reach out to me. We had discussion about it. He was very polite, and I really appreciated his perspective and point of view. I was part of the Planning Commission when we kind of finalized these maps and all that, but looking at this and looking at the satellite image of kind of where it's at, I know like we'd be in a bit of a pickle to find a new area for commercial, but if we're looking at the southeast portion of Groveland and Dixie, where it's currently labeled as neighborhood residential, we could move that area from commercial down. It's undeveloped, it's off Dixie. The thing that concerns me the most here that I didn't see while on planning, but looking at the satellite image, is that there are homes down that stretch of Dixie. You've got this pocket of a neighborhood that could be expanded on, and then it's going to be right at the edge of the rural town center, which on the outside, the rural town center, for those that don't understand, it's kind of a hybrid of commercial and residential, almost like a downtown feel. And so like the shops, the apartments, that's concentrated to the center, whereas the outskirts are more of like your townhomes, your homes that are a little bit more spaced out. And so when you look at the rural town center being right at the edge of this, we're going to have the rural town center, which probably the outskirt is going to be, some sort of townhome or like a residential. And then we're going to have this property that is going to be whatever use it is. Take out the fact that car wash has been talked about, but residential. And then we're going to have all these homes that I'm sure are going to stay homes unless someone were to buy it if we kept it commercial and wanted to put something commercial there. But I just feel that from McClellan down to Groveland, off Dixie, and east would be best suited as residential, since there's already a neighborhood residential area there. The edge of the rural town center will be residential. And then if the planning commission so chooses, they could move that portion of C2 residential on the southeast end, or just south of Groveland on that east side where it's undeveloped. That would still make plenty of sense to have commercial properties. So that would be my suggestion. I do understand and empathize with the property owners of being butt up against a commercial property. I myself in real estate in our neighborhood went up and spoke at public comment against a storage facility that was going to back up to our property owners in my subdivision. Because people don't typically want the lights, the noise, all the things that come with a commercial area. So that would be my suggestion, is that we move that commercial area to make sure that we comply with the appropriate amount of commercial, while also maintaining the flow from the inward commercial residential flow of that rural town center development and keeping that whole area kind of a residential feel. So that is where I stand on this so far.
All right.
Yeah, and I would just say too, because I did the same thing. I went through the satellite images and stuff. That is awfully stinking close to that house, is my concern. I mean, that's pretty darn close. There's two properties right there. There's the one and there's the other one. Maybe even if the one that would be further, would that be north, which was larger. This one was interesting. I went back and forth because, it doesn't meet 5 acres, which it needs to be suburban residential. But, it's right next to the house, which I absolutely do not love. But then I get the other side where it's a 4-lane highway, and you have Shannon Fasteners along the edge. Mm-hmm. But then you also got to think, I don't know where these people are from, but say they were from the city of Detroit. That's still pretty rural over there on Dixie Highway if you're from the city of Detroit with all those trees around you. And then when you move in somewhere and you think it's going to be one thing, I will be honest, when I bought my house, obviously there's house around me, but I didn't look at the master plan or anything like that. Now that could have been a fault too, I think, of the real estate agent, not letting them know maybe, hey, just so you know, this is the future plans. But I think going forward, what I definitely want to see is these being changed before switching of hands, I guess, if that makes sense. So people know what they're getting into. So if one of these houses goes up for sale and the plan is to keep this the way it is, then it be turned into that zoning at that point in time, not later on down the road when there may be interest. I don't like the timing of how it's done, and maybe it has to be that way, but I don't like that it's, because I feel for both parties here, because you have somebody who bought the property, plans on investing in it, turning it into a business, whatever that business may be. However, it doesn't fall into what they need it to be, so it needs to be specially reclassified. Then you have the person who bought the house, who knew they were buying a house next to empty land. So, I don't know, I see both sides, but the fact that it's right next to that house is what's really...
And the township could change that zoning now, just to commercial, as you're saying, so that future people know. But, at the same time, it is a stretch of highway on Dixie Highway. It is right across from Shannon. Shannon's a pretty big development.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've all had a chance to drive by there, but it's not like it's a little building tucked in the woods. It's a pretty big operation. So, I think that speaks to the development of that area as well.
Yeah, I see both sides, because then you have behind the houses, which are the complete opposite. So,
Yeah.
I see both sides here. I'm just saying.
Any other discussion?
I would just like to hear Mike's perspective as someone from the planning commission, because we can say we would like to see the commercial center go somewhere else, but we don't get to decide that. That's for the planning commission to decide.
Yeah, I think the property shouldn't be zone C2, should be zone C1, because it is right up against residential. I don't think it should go straight to the industrial type scenario, and that brings in office complex, convenience store, repair shop for watches and vacuum cleaners. It's called out in the ordinance. It is one of the only other areas that we're actually allowing development in the township, so it is kind of sticky. And it's always a battle of the edges, right? So whenever these two things always collide on the edges, although we tried to smooth it out as much as possible in the planning commission, we worked on it quite hard, had a lot of discussion on it. There's still going to be edges. There's still going to be conflict. So the rural town center is going to be there. I think that's a really, if you've seen the master plan, it's a very cool vision of what should be there, because it's not going to be a Novi, it's not going to be a Canton, it's going to be a mix of, house, storefront,
And it can be-
park,
It can be multiple floors, so you've got
Yeah, it's
Commercial
really a
on the
nice
bottom, yeah.
way to go. We'll have to look at it, maybe we can move the commercial system down or forward, whatever, but again, you're on a 5-lane highway, lots of access, it's a commercial area, it's the only place we can grow. I noticed the comment was, well, we don't have a police department in the township of Holly. Well, we don't have a police department because we can't really afford a police department. We can't afford a police department because we don't have enough tax revenue. And I would love to come up with a different way to fund local government besides property taxes, which I think are abhorrent. I think property taxes are just disgusting. But that's the funding model that we have right now, and we're kind of stuck. So another point to point out is that either a business and actually townships are businesses, right? They're all incorporated businesses. Check out that rabbit hole. But either a business is growing or it's shrinking. You can't stay the same. If you're going to stay the same, it's going to die. And then you have a dead city, and nobody wants to live there. So bringing people into an area and moving people to other areas brings life and action and activity and growth. And you have to have some place in the township to do that. A lot of the township is already preserved as agricultural and state planning, where there are 5-acre plots and all that kind of stuff that we want to preserve. And we're kind of concentrating these two areas as the growth area to preserve that up north feeling in Oakland County. It's a tough place to be. It's a tough juggling act. And unfortunately, we can't make everybody happy.
All right, thank you. Any other comment, discussion?
Ask a question then. Would you think that a C1 is more fitting with even the town center type of thing as opposed to a C2?
In my view, yes. Because it's not industrial. You're not stamping out parts and drilling holes and cutting metal. But then again, you're doing sales, insurance salesman, whatever was called out in the ordinance. It's actually pretty good. Insurance salesman, watch repair, shoe repair.
Right.
More like a small
light.
commercial retail.
Small
Yes.
commercial, small office
Yes.
kind of thing.
And then
which-
the idea with the rural town center is to have a walkable neighborhood, right? You want to walk to the grocery store, you want to walk to the drugstore, you want to walk to the hardware store, and then walk home and do your stuff. So that's kind of what the rural town center's concept is.
Yeah. And 1.5 acres is not much.
1.62,
Yeah.
a little bigger, but yeah, it's a tiny plot-ish.
That's a shave,
And it's a triangle too, which is going to be
Right,
very
it's
interesting to
an
build
odd-
anything on there that's going to be
Right.
useful. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough one. I was hoping somebody else was going to buy it and include it in another parcel, but that didn't happen.
I will say a car wash would be very expensive. You're talking engineered
That's why I
septic
said,
plans. You're talking a well that would have to have a study to make sure it's not going to dry out the wells that are in the neighboring area.
You're talking about major eagle issues.
Yeah.
that's why I said this is by no means a done deal.
Right.
Right.
But then
Business.
hearing some of the other things though, like it's still like industrially, you're talking like energy storage facility, and I can't remember all of what was
Yeah,
mentioned, but the
For those kind
overall
of
feel
facilities,
was
you don't
like,
have enough property.
Right.
It's a pretty small piece of property
I get
for a
that. So,
C2.
so then of the
It's just
options, it's very
the thing.
limited, so it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the rules. Are we allowed to switch it to a C1, or would it go back to the planning commission?
That's a good question.
Ask,
Alexis.
Would it
Ask
maybe
our
even go
planner.
back to the requester, because he specifically requested C2?
Yeah.
Is that something that even is negotiable?
She's going to answer you.
I was thinking about that when you had brought that up. And I believe that you would need to deny this request because the application and the request was from, or for C2. Yeah.
At that point, we would send it back to the planning commission.
Send it back to the owner, and they would have
Well-
to apply for a C1.
It would, I believe it would have to be a new request, and you would have to deny this one, because you're right, it would go back to the applicant.
Then that's problematic as well because we've master planned it for the C2.
Yeah.
So
One last question. Is the car wash permissible under C1?
Our car wash is not listed in the C1.
I'm just asking.
And
All the details need to be out there.
dropped my papers and they got all mixed up. But to your point, the site is quite small. So there's allowable uses and then there's realistic uses. What could actually physically fit given all of the requirements of the zoning ordinance and just physical needs? I mean, to be able to fit a drive around if you need to. We've talked a lot about car washes tonight. That was an idea. It's not necessarily going to happen. And one thing I'll mention is the applicant did say, and you could also welcome the applicant up for questions, but the idea was a self-serve car wash. So, you're thinking stalls, perhaps, not a fully automatic drive-through, which, as we're kind of getting at, may not even fit on that site. In terms of talking through shifting around the future land use, that would really require a master plan amendment to shift where these things are planned for today. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that in the zoning plan, within the master plan, all of the current commercially related zoning districts, which include C1, C2, as well as office service. Office is kind of, becoming a thing of the past, but all three of those fall within this commercial center future land use category. Now, that could mean that the township ultimately decides, well, we don't need two separate commercial classifications. We could do with one because we have so few commercially zoned properties in the township to begin with. And often when we update an ordinance, you want it to be efficient and concise. You want it to be straightforward. We don't want to overcomplicate things if not necessary. But if through the zoning update we find that, well, we really do have a need for two different zoning for commercial, then that's still okay. But I did want to mention that in the master plan, it is intended that consolidating could be a path forward for those two districts.
Okay.
But both are supported. If the applicant had requested a C1, that would also be supported for this future land use category.
Is that an allowed thing we're even allowed to say? Like if the area in the master plan says this is commercial center and commercial center encompasses C1 and C2, are we allowed to say, yes, it does, but we want C2 in these areas and C1 in these areas? Is that even something we're allowed to do?
So that would really be something that discussion or determination would happen when we are updating the ordinance once we get to the zoning map. So a lot of what's called for in the master plan is consolidation or even the creation of a new rural town center that would be a completely new zoning district. Once we create these new districts, we have to put them on the map somewhere. And so it will involve deciding sometimes on a parcel by parcel basis, is this better suited for this district or this district, if there are multiple like that. Is that
Yes.
that makes sense?
Any further discussion? Okay.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of how I wanted to say this.
Okay.
So, I would love, I don't know how far we went. I know, especially Karen, there's a huge concern of if we're even legally allowed to deny it. Because if it meets the future land use plan, I feel like you're gonna get, so I would just personally love to maybe put it to the side and talk to the attorney before we make it. Because I could be wrong, but I'm feeling like we're all kind of divided on how we feel. And so I would just love a legal opinion so we feel better about what our options even are. Because I know when I was on the zoning board of appeals, that was a concern right off the bat, is sometimes you just legally have to say yes because
You've
you
master
have no,
planned for
yeah,
it.
you have no grounds to say no.
Yeah, I feel without specific criteria
To deny it.
to deny, we're pretty open to a lot of things, and I agree with you that a legal opinion might be our best thing. And if that's the case, I would make a motion to table.
We could just withdraw our motion and,
So we
Postpone
currently
it.
have a motion on the floor.
right. So
It's your motion.
I'll withdraw my motion. Then do you second?
Support, yeah.
Okay.
So the motion's withdrawn. Mr. Kinnaman?
Okay, now I'll make a motion then to table this matter. Oh, yes, postpone, because table is in the same meeting.
Yeah.
Postpone this matter for legal consultation.
Support.
Motion by Kinnaman, support by Winchester. Any further discussion on this motion?
And that consultation will take place at the next meeting of the whole board.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So, we'll move on to number 2, architect and engineering proposal regarding the new township hall. Mr. Brandon Kritzman is with us this evening, and he represents Detroit Architectural Group. If you'd like to address the board.
Good evening to the members of the board and all those in the audience. It's an exciting night for Detroit Architectural Group, having been selected by the township to provide the architecture and engineering services for the proposed new township hall. Certainly an exciting way for us to start 2026, and I can only imagine that it's more exciting for you guys, having the opportunity to kind of rewrite the next chapter in your local history. It's a privilege certainly for us to be a part of it. Myself and my 2 business partners, Bo Wynn and Jake Root. I think several of you had a chance to meet Bo. We're already in the process of shaping the workshop series and getting those agendas set up. Looking forward to the project kickoff meeting that we've tentatively scheduled so far. The rest of my goal here this evening is to make myself available for any questions that you guys may have at this point.
All right, you have a memo in your packet that was written by Treasurer Jen Ryan. For the public, I just want to say, you made the comment, thank you for being selected. You were actually selected by the ad team, which is the clerk, the treasurer, and myself. We interviewed and met with 4 different architectural firms. We had question and answer and went through that process. Then the 4 firms all submitted what amounted to an RFP. And we then went over the RFPs and made the decision as an ad team that this was the architect we would like to see us working with going forward. I did make the comment during that process and the interview that it would be nice if we could take one person from each firm and have like the dream team, because they all had some great stuff in their background One of the firms was the one that just did the depot in downtown Detroit. But, so they all had projects that they've done. They've all done libraries, municipal buildings, fire buildings, police stations, and so forth. But as a team, we landed on Detroit Architectural Group. Your gentleman that sat there and whipped out some of his sketch drawings while we were talking definitely helped your bid there.
That's
as
what
well
I'm
as-
afraid of. If you're going to pick one from each team, I feel like he's going to pick my partner and not me.
I will say too, we
I was
each
trying to be
three,
polite. You're trying to put me on the spot.
we each three graded the proposals separately,
Right.
and then when we came together, like averaged them, but we had each picked DAG as our top
Right.
one
Yep.
scored.
So that information's in the packet for the board to look at. And I will tell you, as somebody, and Marlo Davidson's in the audience tonight, and she helped way back in 2012 through a petition drive to get on the ballot to make this a 7-member board. It didn't work back then. We brought it up again. I pushed it again. We got it on the ballot. And we are loving this 7-member board because we can work as an administrative team and do things like this, bring it to the board. Then we put 4 more sets of eyes on it. This is your opportunity to ask questions. You've seen the packet and the memo as to how we landed here. I'm going to open it up to the board to have a dialogue with Mr. Kurtzman.
So I was a little confused on the setup. So I seen Fleece and Vanderbrink in here as well. So they assist you guys in part of this process? Is that how this works?
So Detroit Architectural Group, we will be providing the architecture services, but we use a series of consultants for the rest of our design team, right? Like we're not an all-in-one shop that has 200 people working for us. We're 12 people. But we have established relationships with mechanical, electrical engineers that we utilize, who are also small businesses. So while we're smaller businesses, we're really design partners that have done a lot of work together. The group that is proposed here, including Fleece and Vandenbrink. Fleece and Vandenbrink provides civil engineering, surveying, and landscape architecture. We just are finishing a project with them. In fact, tomorrow we have the punch list for the new Grand Blanc Township Fire Station and DPW facility. So Fleece and Vandenbrink's role on the project will be to provide any necessary surveying, although a lot of that is done already. The civil engineering to handle water management and topography, grading, all of those sorts of elements. And then they'll also be involved in the landscape architecture.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
DAG will serve as the architect of record, and we will provide the project management so that your team really just funnels through me, and I'll deal with coordinating with our team.
Yeah, because I mean, they do a good job. I've worked with them on a few things and working on a materials management plan with them right now for a countywide thing, and they're pretty knowledgeable. So
Also, so
We've
the-
enjoyed working with them on multiple projects.
yeah.
Also, so the board knows, all 4 of the architectural groups we worked with were given a seal of approval by the project manager. Aaron has worked with all 4 of them and felt that we would be equally served whichever way we go. So there's that too.
Yeah.
Does your fee include working with these other companies?
Yes, that's an all-inclusive fee. And there's no markup from our standpoint. It's all tackled under that one fee.
Mr. McCanny, any questions?
So we're gonna hit a design phase. Are you gonna give us samples, or should we bring Lincoln Logs and build our own little samples, or what? How does that
to be
work?
honest, we still play with crayons.
Okay, crayons are
There's
good.
really just, and Supervisor Coolis referenced my business partner, Bo. You give that guy a Sharpie and some trace paper and give him a design prompt, and he's our in-house AI as far as the design side goes. But we utilize a series of steps along the way. From a design standpoint, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go verify the existing conditions of the building, create those as-built documents so we understand not only what's there architecturally, structurally, but also mechanical, electrical, plumbing, all of those aspects as well. What we would launch into then is what we call programming, and that's really just a big in-depth discussion to identify what rooms are necessary, what spaces are necessary, what services will the township be providing to the community that need to be accommodated in this space. The clerk's office, for example, you've got to have lockable storage, right? So I don't know yet how much space she needs from a lockable storage standpoint, how digital you are. So the programming phase allows us to go into deep discussion, deep dive about your needs. And that translates to space needs. That translates to how much space is needed. And then we'll go through a space planning exercise to figure out within the existing footprint, how can this work? Can we do it without having to add on to the building? Or is there a planned future growth aspect of the programming process that we identify that says, hey, the township's anticipating X amount of growth. We want to be able to accommodate, another 5,000 square feet of programmed space. So then we'll get into forms and just floor plans. Now so much of it is digital. As much as I talk about Bo being able to knock out a sketch on a piece of paper, we're drafting three-dimensionally now. And so we'll model the space three-dimensionally. We'll be able to show you models along the way. We'll do a design series for the exterior of the building as well, so that we can show what the options might be. So there's 10 checkpoints along the way for input from whatever the project team is designated by the township.
All right, cool.
And at some point, yes, we could get into physical samples as well, but we're a few stops on the train tracks before that one.
Okay, good. Because I know the three examples that were sent, one looks like pretty close, right
Yeah.
in there, and then the other one's not so much.
It's because they wanted something vastly different,
doesn't
right?
fit, so that's good. We got choices.
The one that you did reference as being kind of close to what your inspiration may be. That's
close.
Greenmead Historic Park in Livonia.
Mm-hmm.
It's nestled into a campus there where they have, I think, 12 to 15 historic structures. There's a church, there's a one-room schoolhouse, there's multiple residences, a couple of barns. They very specifically wanted a new building that looked like it fit aesthetically into that surrounding. So at the outset of our project kickoff, we'll identify what those design goals are and head down a path that gets you a design that's compliant and in the spirit of what you're looking for.
Perfect.
So do you typically get the budget amount before you start this? Or do you just kind of start going and then we're like, you know what, scale it back a little bit, or?
I could spend your money all day long,
Right.
and that's not the way to do it. So
Right.
yes, typically you want to establish a project budget from the outset so that we're making design decisions along the way that are going to support the ultimate goal of bringing the project in under budget and on time. So understanding what that budget is, and certainly you guys are, the experts on your side from a financing standpoint. I'm not privy to that information yet. But as we develop this project, the advantage that you guys have in the way that you have it set up with McCarthy and Smith serving as a owner's rep, CM, they will be providing cost estimates along the way. In fact, I believe it was outlined in the RFP to be done at the end of schematic design, design development, and construction documents. So there should be 3 checkpoints along the way before you pull the trigger on that final construction loan, or however the methodology works out to be.
So is that going to be the next step? Is what process are we going to be using to pay for this? Because we've talked 2 different things now. We've talked a bond, and then we've talked without a bond.
We're working to get to that point.
Okay. So is there anybody else we would approve before then, though? 'Cause, I mean, I feel like that would be the main starting point.
Yeah, this is the team.
This
right?
is the
as
te-
Aaron
right.
described it to us, these are the 3 people you need in your team to
And
even
then
do
we'll
anything.
determine that from there.
And Aaron's already set a meeting up with us in February to keep the process going.
Kickoff meeting.
Okay.
And they were given that schedule that he had written out, the timetable?
Mm-mm,
I
No?
don't think so.
no.
Okay, we'll have to get that to you as we move the project.
Right, and he did some initial cost estimates and things like that too, to just get the, but, you know, it'll be fine-tuned and refined as we go along. So I think it's more seeing what we need and what we can do with, at different levels to start with.
And then we'll make that decision on how we're gonna move forward financially.
Okay, are there any other questions for Mr. Kurtzman?
I was just gonna point out, so you mentioned the sketch, it actually is in their proposal, that little sketch that they did during their interview with us. He has sketched it out while they were sitting there. He had a picture of our building as it is now and sketched something on top of it.
And that's certainly by no means intended to be a developed design. We literally sat like right there
Yeah,
and in
while we
5
were
minutes
talking.
worked that
Yeah.
up based on, and a simple understanding of the goals.
Let's see.
We were saying like, it's next
Where-
to the
where'd you
train
find
tracks, maybe take the
Jen, where
train
was that?
depot feel
the-
to it, and he
After
ran with
the
it.
experience, right here, where it says project approach. They don't have page numbers, so.
Yeah, that's really just a 15, 20-minute doodle. As we
The
were
doodles
talking.
get more complicated the farther we get in.
Yeah,
That stick people next step.
That's why he does the drawing part.
It's made with a lot
but
of unattainium.
It spoke to his creative side. All right,
And we graded on multiple factors, but DAG was also the cheapest option of the 4 proposals we received.
Yep.
So,
We prefer cost effective.
yes.
Cost
I was gonna say-
effective.
I was gonna say, we gotta come up with a better word than cheapest. So, all right,
And
Thank you,
the
sir.
approval
Appreciate you.
should be subject to
Yes.
the contract being approved by the attorney.
you wanna just finish that motion?
Okay. I will move to approve the architect and engineering proposal for the new Township Hall, being the Detroit Architect Group, subject to approval of the contract by the township attorney.
Is there support?
Support.
I was expecting 3 people to jump on that.
He spoke faster than me.
There was a delay. I was surprised. I thought everybody was going to want to go down on that. Okay. Motion by Winchester, support by Mattson. Is there any further discussion? None appearing. Let's do a roll call. This doesn't include a contract.
Derek Burton,
Yes.
Jennifer Ryan.
Yes.
Karen Winchester, yes. Ryan Mattson,
Yes.
Richard Kinnaman,
Yes.
Mike McCanny,
Yes.
George Cullis.
I'll give you a yes if you'll learn my last name.
Oh, gosh.
I just heard it. Made sure that I will not say it incorrectly again.
Yes, so motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you for your time this
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you.
That'll take us to number 4. These are appointments. They're made.
3. You skipped 3, the Haya.
Oh, I'm sorry, Holly Area Youth Assistance member, the proposed resolution 2026-01. I got so many notes here, I'm losing myself. Did you want to introduce the resolution for Haya?
I'm not on the board.
I can do it.
Oh, it's you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So this is just, they've added a new member to the board, Leslie Jorgensen. She's been on township boards before. I believe she's a realtor in the community. So this is just our stamp of approval along with the other participating municipalities.
She is currently on our Board of Review. Okay, so it's approval of her becoming a board member for Haya.
I move to approve Resolution 2026-01 for the Holly Area Youth Assistance member Leslie Jorgensen.
Support. Oh,
Go ahead. You go
Okay.
ahead.
okay.
Oh,
Motion by Ryan, support by Cullis. All in favor say, oh, it's a resolution, I
Yeah.
gotta have a roll call.
Ryan Mattson,
Yes.
Karen Winchester, yes. Mike McCanny,
Yes.
Jennifer Ryan,
Yes.
Derek Burton,
Yes.
Richard Kinnaman,
Yes.
George Cullis.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Now, to number 4, these are appointments. We do this at the beginning of the year. Number 4 is the Planning Commission. Both Ray Curtin and Ben Armstead, their term is up. They are agreeing to a new term. I will do the names individually. That way, they get voted on. And for these, I'm going to go ahead and make the motion, seeing as I'm the one that brings the name forward. Motion to approve Ray Curtin, term ending December 31st, 2028, to the Planning Commission.
Support.
So it's Cullis Burton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I will make a motion to put Ben Armstead on the Planning Commission with a term ending 12/31/28. Is there support?
Support.
Cullis Burton again. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we'll go down to the
speaking too
appointments
fast.
for the Zoning Board of Appeals. For those of you that are in the audience, listen up to this one. I have an opening on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Josh Murphy was on the board. He has moved out of Holly Township. Therefore, I have to replace him. At the same time, I'm going to make a motion to put Joe Hutchins on the Zoning Board of Appeals. He has agreed to stay on. And his term will be ending 12/31/28. So there's motion for Joe. Is there support?
Support.
Was that Kinnaman?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion by Cullis, support by Kinnaman for Joe Hutchins. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There is an opening on the Zoning Board of Appeals. I do not have a name. I have asked a couple of people, but I've not had anybody to commit to doing that. So that's an opening that still exists. Then we go down to, there are 2 names for the Board of Review. I'll make
Oh, yeah.
those terms end 12/31/27. The first name I'll bring forward is Nancy Rebar. A motion to approve her as a member of our Board of Review. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Mattson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. My second motion will be to continue Chuck Stoner's seat on the Board of Review, ending December 31st of 27.
Second.
Support by Kinnaman. Again, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us down to appointments for the Construction Board of Appeals. Don Dewey is a member of NACFA, and he is a builder. He has agreed to sit on the Construction Board of Review. For those of you that are unfamiliar with that committee, if we have somebody in the township that has pulled a building permit and they get in a disagreement with the building inspector, they have an opportunity to appeal his decision, and that would go before this board. State law does not say that you have to be a resident of the board. I can appoint somebody from outside the township. I have not found a person yet to do that. I do have 2 people that currently live in the township. The first name I'll bring forward is Don Dewey, in the form of a motion to sit on the Construction Board of Appeals with his term ending December 31st of 27.
Second.
Motion by Cullis, second by Kinnaman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next name is Matt Halberstadt. If you're not familiar with Matt Halberstadt, on your way to Fenton, he's almost the last house in the township. He was going to build an addition, and if you've watched that project, he's almost rebuilt the whole house.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the right side of the road as you're heading into Fenton.
Left side,
Left side.
Oh, I said that
with your left hand.
with my left hand even.
Yeah, your other right.
Yeah, it's the other right. Okay, so, but I'll bring the name Matt Halberstadt, a motion to put him on the Construction Board of Review. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Mattson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. He's also the gentleman that built the entire back wall on the barn at the farmstead after we had picked it up and put it back down. So those are the two names. I still have a seat available on that board that I'll be looking for. So that gets us down to number 9, planning and zoning fee schedule. Now we're talking about raising rates. I'm going to turn that one over to Karen.
It's not necessarily the rates, but the escrow. There is one for the landscape plan review is going to increase because that is considerably more in cost. And then adding a liquor license fee as well. We do have a potential applicant. And most of this is for escrow for the applicants. We're not collecting enough money, and I'm having to bill and wait. We're paying out of other people's money to cover their bills, and then I have to bill them and have them deposit more escrow. So this is trying to get the escrow up enough to cover the bills that come in from the consultants, the attorneys, the engineers, and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the planning and zoning fee schedule, proposed resolution 2026-02.
Motion by Burton,
Support.
support by Mattson. Is there any further discussion?
Just one point, the gun permit fee, what are we doing with that?
You know, I don't.
Shall not be infringed is pretty,
Nobody's ever used it. I really don't even know what
Oh,
it's
okay.
there for. It's been there for as long as I've been here.
What do we, well, no, so now we gotta go back. What are we collecting it for? Do they have to apply to the, can they apply to the township for a gun permit?
I don't think so. So I
Do we
don't,
wanna strike it?
we could.
we probably should strike it. Also,
Yeah.
there's been a ruling that keeping any lists of any gun owners is now not okay. So the only purpose of having a gun permit in itself is to have a list of
And
who
we-
has a
Right, we don't have our
who has a
own
pew-pew, so
police, so we wouldn't.
We don't have any
Approve a
permits
gun.
issued, do we?
you should probably
We've-
strike it.
I've never known of us to have
Okay, would,
those.
Mr. McKinney, would you like to amend the motion?
Sure. Like to amend the passing of the Exhibit A Resolution 2026-02 with the strike of the gun permit administrative fee of $5.
Support.
Support by Burton, no surprise there. So
Just
we will,
procedurally, did that, we do
So
that
maybe at
correct?
some point there
Hang
must
on.
have been where they did it.
Could be.
Or the fingerprinting, I know or a couple years ago, we were doing the fingerprinting services for CPL.
no, that's the village.
Right, but if we were paying
Yeah.
that expense.
Yeah. So you had a question on procedure?
Correct. Mr. Burton and I made a motion and a support, and then we didn't withdraw our original
No.
motion.
No,
Because
it's
your
been
motion
amended.
still exists. He just amended your motion.
Okay.
Now we're gonna vote on his amendment. All
Okay.
in favor to amend the motion,
Okay.
say aye.
Wouldn't
Aye.
it? Oh, yes.
Opposed?
Got it.
Okay, so the amendment passes. Now the motion is Resolution 2026-02 as amended. And that's a resolution that gets a roll call.
Okay. Richard Kinnaman,
Yes.
Michael McCanny,
Yes.
Ryan Mattson,
Yes.
Derek Burton,
Yes.
Jennifer Ryan,
Yes.
Karen Winchester, yes, George Cullis.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. That takes us to our last public comment. Step up to the podium, please. Oh, jeez. Sorry about that.
David Gillespie, 6359 Laring Road. I just want to welcome all the new members here. You have never seen me before. You know who I am, though, right? I am the one with the lawsuit. and I want to make a comment about what George said at the last meeting. I'm not sure you wanted to throw me under the bus, but I want to tell you what really happened at that meeting, at the gravel pit, at the fence. The owner of that gravel pit came straight to that fence. As soon as we got there, he called me an MF, and he was going to go after me, and that's what really happened. And the only thing I did was said, this started 4 years ago. It wasn't 6 years ago. And I was not out of control, George.
I don't think I said you would, but
Oh, well, look back at...
I will. I'll
yeah.
have to. If I did, I apologize. 'Cause
I
you
hope
weren't-
so, because I can't believe you would do that.
Sir, I said, I don't believe I did that. I will look at the tape. If I did, I will apologize. You weren't the one. It
I
was
wasn't.
the
It
other
was all
person,
him.
And I thought we made that
And
clear.
he talks like that all the time.
I know. Trust me. We were at the mediation with you. I'm absolutely,
Well, the way
Taken.
you make it sound, though, you make it sound like he was so eloquent in his speech. That's
No.
what you said at the
hang
last
on.
meeting.
What I said is he started out that way. And he did. He started out very nice, very willing to do everything. Then, within
then he
2
blew
minutes,
off. Yeah.
he
Uh,
absolutely
Well,
exploded.
believe me, he does that all the time.
Well, I'm going to watch that
And
tape.
since I've hired my attorney, I don't ever have to get mad at anybody.
No, no.
I let him take care of everything. And
I'm
I
going to
would like
watch that tape to see, because if I did, I certainly didn't mean to.
Well, it sounded just like you were putting me under the bus.
No. Well,
So, what I would like to do is let the other board members come up to my property whenever you want to. I'll show you exactly what's going on. 4 years ago. Anytime you want to come out to my property, please do. Hmm? What do you mean call me?
to set up an appointment, don't just show up at 10 o'clock at night and start walking around.
Well, they can get my number if they want to. Okay. Thank you very much, and glad to have you guys.
Well,
Thank you.
and I'll be in touch with you.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else for public comment? Yep, sure are. You'll never see me step on your First Amendment rights.
Thank you, Mr. Cullis. I appreciate that.
Okay.
I would just like to comment, I really do think what Mr. Mattson brought up is a really good solution to having commercial property in Holly Township alongside residential property. I think our 5 homes that have been there for, well, I know your home's been there for almost 200 years. That's a farmhouse that's been there for 200 years. Our home, we purchased in November, has been there since for 70 years, since 1957. I do understand the need for commercial property, and I think having our homes along that corridor be part of the rural farm town center to serve as an anchor for that residential outcropping that we talked about would really be outstanding. So I hope that goes into consideration at the Plan Commission. Thank you.
Is there anyone else for public comment? All right. Anybody on the board have any last comments to make? Are you coming up for public comment? Yes. Oh, okay. No, yeah, you're fine. I just didn't see you say yes.
Oh, yeah, I talk fast. Steve Ball, 11455 Dixie Highway, Holly, Michigan. And yes, thank you, board, very much for taking the time to actually discuss this. And, you know, Ryan, you brought that up. Derek, thank you very much for bringing it up as well. Understanding our circumstance right now, what we're going through as homeowners. Like I said, as James said, we love where we live. It's a beautiful area. We love Holly. Holly's very scenic, and want to keep it that way. So thank you very much for your time, everyone. And I think what's going to happen is attorney's going to have to take a look at this to make sure that it's legal before it's rezoned, if it is, or keep it agricultural residential. But yeah, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Going once, twice? Okay. I'm going to call this meeting at 8:24.